I don't
You don't need to.
Yes.
Oh, we're back, friends.
We got shots in our butts.
It is no longer a pandemically erotic episode.
Oh, I mean, it still
It
is.
well,
There's
yes,
asterisks.
but I'm going to look on the bright side of life,
Yes.
like the pythons, and say it is just an erotic episode of a Crept from the 80s this time.
Swing, as the kids say.
And we have Mr. Chris Tanski back
Yeah.
for this episode, which is a sight for sore eyes and sore arms. I'm excited. I'm excited to see you, Chris.
Yes.
It's good to have
been
you.
a while.
When I wanted to do this episode, when thinking of the episodes, who better to talk to for this particular episode than with Tansky? Because I know, unlike many other friends in the group who happen to be, for the most part, younger than us and haven't really had the same
less
kind
gray
of
hairs.
experience, I knew that you have been going to the cinema basically since you were
At least 40 plus.
a seedling.
Yeah.
So I knew that this is the person I had to have on this episode.
Appreciate that.
And I'm glad you said yes. And here we are. So this,
I'd like to think of an episode where I would be like, you know what, I'm gonna sit out on this one.
Halloween.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. Yeah.
Not the
movies?
No, not the season. But your thoughts on Halloween the film. Because we know how much of a hater of that film and franchise
Can't
you
do
are.
it. Can't do it.
So I would expect that one. You'd say out. You'd probably hang up, metaphorically, since we don't hang up anymore.
Yeah, it's a button. It's not as cool. Well, you know what? That's not as
No,
dramatic.
You'd have to.
I mean, you could throw the.
You
phone.
know what? Click.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yes.
so this episode we are going to talk about some of our favorite, amazing theatrical experiences.
Good call.
From our childhood to the modern age, and how this is funny. To me, these experiences are part of the fun of going to the movies, right? There's a lot of people, and I know, like in foreign countries, who believe this to be a terrible thing.
Oh.
If people react, if people clap, if people cheer.
True. Okay.
Which boggles my mind, you know. I find it to be euphoric, you know, chill-inducing, goosebump-inducing.
It's a community thing.
Yes, the communal experience of something we're all sharing, a movie bringing us to that plateau, where that feeling is quite something. You know, it kind of counters the whole argument of, well, a movie's just a movie.
They don't hear you clapping.
You know,
Which that was always when I was in the movie theater business, was always my favorite thing to do. With an exciting movie, I would stand at the front, shielded by the wall. But when it hit credits for certain films, I would begin to clap, and that would, you know, it's like the wave. Like it would start the audience to clap.
they can't see you. They don't appreciate this. Stop it.
That was always my favorite thing, especially when they would oblige. I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't cotton to that. I quite enjoy it.
Yes.
I love it.
Unless it's the Passion of the Christ, might not be the best one to.
You did it, Jesus.
Which I forget what the movie was, but it was not one that you would laugh or clap at. And I remember having to talk to a couple who were doing just that. And we'll just say
At that movie, or
it was a
movie type, strong,
yeah,
heavy,
like why are you laughing?
like Schindler's List.
It's like somebody came to me. Yeah, someone came to me. It was like, there's some people, and I was like, I don't know how to. So I went in. I was like, listen, we've been getting some complaints about you laughing, and they're like, well, we think it's funny. I'm like, but it's not a comedy. Could you maybe tone it down? I don't know.
Yeah. What
It was
do you do
a-
in that
it was
situation?
a-
You know what I mean?
I
It's
said something. I did my part, and
Yeah.
that was up to them to stop or continue.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was interesting. But yes, the communal experience.
You know, that makes me think it was my fault, but me and Alec went to see The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
And we were laughing through that movie. We were just like...
Now, was this after the horribleness that occurred in the world? Or before?
What was happening at that time?
There was a incident at a movie theater when that film...
Oh, no, that's The Dark Knight Returns, right?
Oh! Wait, no.
It was for Rises?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't even know
I
what
don't
The Dark
know.
Knight
But
Returns is.
The Dark Knight...
Or the cartoon. You saw the cartoon?
No, what the hell?
There's The Dark Knight and then The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight.
Okay.
We went to see The Dark Knight Rises.
Then that's... Okay.
And we were laughing through the whole thing. Because I'm one of those weirdos who I'm not a fan of Nolan's Batman movies other than Batman Begins.
Okay.
I think that one is the best thing he's done with that franchise.
I think it is a very underrated film.
But The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises
Didn't do it for you?
didn't do anything for me. Because I was like, well, these are great crime movies, I guess, but they're not Batman movies.
Okay, I can see that.
And The Dark Knight Rises was, I don't know. Alec was on the same page with me.
Bane
And we were just cracking up at it. And people were so... It was
so
like...
mad. It
was like you were at a funeral.
Okay.
You know, because so many of these fanboys take that Nolan trilogy so seriously, and we were just like,
I mean,
what am I watching? You know?
Yeah.
So I get that. It may be disrespectful for others, but what are you gonna do? We're
This
there.
is my emotion that's coming
yeah,
out, right?
Yeah. It's not like we were screaming, laughing, and trying to upset people
right.
On purpose, but it just was like inciting some laughter.
Understood.
It kind of happened that way when I saw Batman versus Superman as well. I was like shaking my head. I was like,
"What is going on?"
Come on! I just was like, ooh.
Might have been like that for me with Phantom Menace.
Ooh.
When I'll
Menace.
never forget the "Are You Brain Dead" line came out, and I just saw my buddy's head drop down in defeat. Just like.
Yeah, we can talk about that too, because that is sort of on my list, but because of a negative
the
connotation.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, so let's get into this. I want to go back. We'll start from the beginning.
Chronologically,
our tiny experiences as tiny people,
yes,
tiny individuals at a movie theater. We've talked about it before. I know, in particular, I've talked about it with you, but so I can remember clearly what my first movie in the cinema was.
Mm-hmm.
That I remember. Like, my family says, oh, we all went to see Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
But I'm 3 years old.
Right.
I have no recollection of The Empire Strikes Back whatsoever. But when I'm 4 years old, that's when I start...
That's when I click. Yeah.
Getting the memories, right?
Yeah.
So, I remember... So I can clearly remember E.T. And I can remember crying at E.T.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. And fully cognizant, I would say, my first, experience of pure joy was Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I've talked about before. I was so excited, I was jumping on the seat. My aunt... It was either my aunt, my mom, or my grandmother who always took me to see these movies, right? And, joy varies between the three. My grandma did it because I guess she, I've talked about it. I remember her taking me to see The Dark Crystal, and her hating it, absolutely hating it, but me
these aren't people
loving it.
These aren't
loving
humans.
But my first experience of pure joy at a movie theater was Return of the Jedi, and the excitement. And I was sick, so I didn't care about anybody.
Right.
I was just caring about what I was feeling, and that excitement for me was really something special. So I guess, E.T., okay, whatever. We all cried, the whole family. I can remember a row of the family just bawling, you know? I can remember that. I can remember the end. I can remember E.T. turning into a piece of white poop, you know, like Reese's Pieces. I can remember all that stuff. But as far as a pure explosion of joy, it definitely was like Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
And holy cow, you know?
Yeah. It would be Empire for me. I was 4. I'm trying to remember if Caddyshack came out before Empire. I think Empire might have been first, but I do vividly remember seeing Caddyshack because I pissed my pants from laughing.
Well, that was when Caddyshack was intertwined with Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, that's right. It was,
and they released it as a special edition.
Spliced it together, right? Okay, so they all blend together.
Yes,
no, I remember going. It was a theater called the Lowe's Pittsford here in Rochester, and that was a weird theater because it had like 3 or 4 theaters in the front, but then it had like this 1,000-seat theater in the back, and we got there super early, and had to wait in line. I mean, that's really a thing that isn't a thing anymore. Just waiting in line for movies.
Yeah.
As much as it was in the 80s, it was, you had to get there early and wait 2 hours for the next movie. And I remember just going along the side, and they had the soundtrack playing and just waiting in line as my dad found a parking spot, and then standing for 2+ hours for the next showing. Something unheard of today, but just going inside. And movies used to do a thing where they would sell programs or comics, and I remember getting the Empire Strikes Back comic, and I wasn't allowed to look at it until we watched the movie, but I had it in my hands, and just picture 1,000 people watching. It might not have been 1,000, but there was a lot of people in that theater, and just sitting there and seeing something, because sequels weren't really, I mean, obviously they existed. There was Godfather Part 2, there was all the Apes, but as a kid, you didn't really know what sequels were, per se.
Yeah.
So to see the continuation of all these favorite characters that you had the action figures for was the elation. It was wonderful. And then seeing one of the greatest sequels, sci-fi movies of all time, on top of that, it was just...
I mean, do you have like a significant memory from the film that always sticks with you as a kid?
Luke falling.
Okay.
And then finding that image in the comic book after, like, that's embedded in my brain.
Yeah.
And then bringing the comic home and showing all the kids in the neighborhood, and then getting the glasses, getting the figures, the hunt for, you had the checklist. It was all encapsulated for that summer, the summer of Empire Strikes Back.
Those were my first action figures.
Nice. Yeah.
The Empire line.
Yeah. Oh, well, nice.
But yeah, like taking imagery from that joyful experience with Return of the Jedi, I always remembered, and it always stuck with me, was the speeder bike chase.
Oh yeah.
And Luke flipping
To get
on the barge to grab his lightsaber.
Yeah.
Those 2 images stuck with me, and I wanted so bad to live that life when I got home. So, I would pretend to flip.
I mean, it was crazy the amount, not to go on an action figure tangent, but the amount of figures they released for those lines.
I love it, though.
Today you get 5 or 6 maybe, and then you get like wave 2, maybe a couple, but back then, like
we got
25 to 30 figures.
Any character that was in the background was there.
It's like, oh, I gotta get that, I gotta get that. Yeah.
You gotta recreate those scenarios.
Yeah. But yeah, Empire, and to an extent, Return of the Jedi, because I would put that up there too, for the same reasons that you were freaking out. It was the end of the saga.
Yeah.
And again, the pinnacle of merchandising, from coloring books to the figures to fast food tie-ins. I mean, those things exist today, but not at the rate. It's almost too easy now, because we have adult money to buy these things instantly instead of going out. I kind of miss that hunt, but then I also don't. But I got to share that with my son when they re-released all the movies, and Burger King had all the little toys. just going from Burger King to Burger King. Sob story to this guy, like, we're looking for the Darth Vader. They only come like one a kilowatt. I just happen to have that right now. Yeah. So those are good times. So yeah, definitely Star Wars is, even when the movies weren't as great, was a part of that communal freak out, if you will.
So the next significant movie for me was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Part
one.
Okay.
One.
Because it'll be 3 for me when we go.
Yeah. One. Well, which is interesting. It's interesting because, you know, all those types of movies, that was my mom and my uncles that would take me to stuff.
The horror.
Right? Yeah. Like, it was at a time where I was not living with my mom. I was already living with my great-grandparents and my great-aunt.
Right.
So, you know, my mom and my uncles were basically teens and 20s. So they weren't...
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
They weren't telling anybody what they were doing with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how I was able to, you know, see a lot of the stuff I was seeing, was because they were just like, let's take Christopher. Let's go. Let's.
He seems like a cool cat.
You know. And this was, you know, I've told it before. This was the reason why I wanted to make movies, and the same year I got that video camera and all that stuff. So Nightmare on Elm Street, and again, I will get to the more communal portions, but this was significant just because
for you.
It was for me. It was like a holy shit, and I had seen horror, right?
Yeah.
But this was different. This was, and I've also said many times.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know why this movie in particular would make me want to pick up a camera and make my own backyard stuff, because again, we were Star Wars kids, man. We had already seen the fantasy stuff.
But did that seem out of reach? Like, I can't make.
I don't know because.
But I can make a dude.
You know, I loved the
knives
Muppets and seeing all that stuff, and I felt like, oh, we can use
buy
puppets and you could do it yourself.
True, yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know, because my ambition was not to scare people or make, you know. I don't know. It was I honestly have never been able to explain it. You know, and certainly when you look at my film career,
it's not. Yeah, Elm Street has nothing to do.
Nothing to do with it, other than the fact that I love horror movies and I love comedy, and I take horror elements and throw them into comedies.
So can you pinpoint when the horror comedy aspect kicked in?
Well, I mean, everything that I was doing was goofy.
Right.
So even if I was taping butter knives to a winter glove, I was still like saying goofy things as the Freddy to kill my friend.
Gotcha.
You know. And like I've said before, like back then I would say witch instead of bitch, because I felt like
I can't swear.
People were gonna like hear it or find out, so I'd always call somebody a witch. You know.
He says witch a lot.
But so, you know, it was significant to me, but again, completely disregarding anything that's happening in the audience. I was just transfixed on the movie, and just like I had never seen anything like this, like a maniac coming out of, you know.
Especially at the age, because you were probably
I was 7
and I was 8 when I saw Elm Street.
7.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I was like,
that lady's on the ceiling.
So it terrified me, but it took me away. It was, imagination was crazy. I was just like, wow, this is something else. And never once did I ever believe that it was real.
Right.
You know, like,
yeah, my dad always I saw Christine when I was like 5 or 6.
Yeah, the family, that side of the family were always like, these are movies.
He gets it.
You know, this is special effects.
I wasn't really a nightmare having kid. I might have one or two.
I had nightmares, but I didn't. It never deterred me from wanting more.
Yes,
you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so 1984 is Elm Street.
Well, Dream Warriors for me. Sold out Stone Ridge Theater, no longer exists today. Kind of a dump of a theater. The proverbial sticky floors, just ripped up seats. But I mean, this was sold out, and my dad made his own Freddy costume. so because this was pre-merchandise, so he took a brown winter glove and he bought fake plastic knives. So he cut the knives off and he glued them to his fingers, and he painted a red and green sweatshirt, and he got the fedora and he wore it to the screening, and so he became the life of the showing, and people were like, "Oh, that's great." I mean, he looked nothing like Freddy, but it was, I got A for effort.
Yeah.
He would get up to go to the bathroom or get refreshments, and all the people around him would be like, "Hey, your dad's pretty cool." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know." And then the movie started, and I'll never forget the moment when Freddy turns the corner, chasing Kristen, and then everybody cheering the bad guy.
Yeah.
And till the very end, it was just everybody was on the edge of their seat. Nobody was talking. It was just, again, the communal experience of just enjoying, because that was right at that point where Freddy was just, taking off, and we did get the figures and the toys, and the rest is history type of thing. But I mean, just everything kind of surrounds Dream Warriors, because again, the lead up to the release, it's etched in my brain seeing the standee at another theater and running up and like, oh my god, because you didn't really know stuff like that was coming out back then. I mean, yes, there was Fangoria, but I guess it missed me. So when I saw the standee, I freaked out. So it's like a holy grail thing for me to obtain. So if you own the Dream Warrior standee, send it my way.
Yeah, it's interesting because I
can't find one now. The time I have money, and I cannot find it on eBay, Mercari, anything. So
I didn't see 2 and 3 in theaters, which is very weird. So I saw them.
Why?
I don't know. Again, it's like,
did it?
Hey, you dropped the. Yeah, it did. But you dropped the ball, Mom. Or
why did the end take it? Like,
I don't know.
There's a part 2.
It didn't happen. So I didn't see them until they hit VHS.
Wow. Did you see 2 on VHS and then years later 3, or did you get them both together? Like, when did you find out there was a part 2?
Oh, so I would go to, I've talked about this before as well, the Sarah's house.
Right.
All the kids would go to the Sarah's house, the big family of the Sarahs. And they were big movie people, right? And they always got the VHS before everybody else.
VCR before everybody
else. But the oldest Sarah, Doug, was a horror fan. So his room was filled with like all this horror stuff. Yeah. I never knew how this kid had this shit. I was so envious of him because he did have standees and he did have all that shit. And I was like, wow, are you getting this? You must know somebody at the theater, right? Who's giving you all this stuff.
It's not like that stuff was sold anywhere.
Later, I became that kid.
Right.
But
Same here.
So Doug had all this stuff, and the first time I saw part 3 was with the Sarahs. It was a big deal.
Had you seen part 2?
Yes, because of the Sarahs.
Okay.
But so it was like, we just got it. It's fresh, that fresh smell VHS. It's a new VHS, and
when did you find out part 2 existed? Did you know it was in theaters and you were like, I need to see that, and then you just never went?
Well, no, the Babcock, so our theater, the Babcock, it was called the Babcock, and it only had 2 screens.
Okay.
One upstairs and one downstairs. Oh. So, you definitely saw the marquee and whatnot. But I didn't really feel the power of part 2 until I had rented Fangoria's Weekend of Horrors tape.
Oh, nice.
From media. And then I was like obsessed. There's more Freddy.
Gotcha.
And then going over to the Sarahs and like, guess what we got? Guess what we're renting,
Yeah.
But the
Did
Sarahs,
you put in requests? If you could rent this next time.
No, man, because they were on
top
point.
of it?
They knew.
Fingers on the pulse.
It was so bizarre, man. It was so you knew you were gonna. You know what? You want to watch RoboCop? Go to the Sarah's house. Oh, they got Short Circuit. They're the ones who got it.
They rented, or did they own it?
They would rent it.
Okay.
They rented it. They were always like,
And
then I started
the new release
to get wise, and then I started to reserve before everybody else could reserve, thanks to the Sarahs. But they did it, and they made it a night. So they would make all this popcorn. They'd have all these like beanbag chairs and everything.
Oh, nice.
And it was weird, but the kids of the neighborhood would go to the Sarah's house, and we'd have these awesome movie nights.
Nice.
And that's where I saw a lot of that stuff. So my next nightmare experience in the theater wasn't until 4.
Gotcha.
But let me backtrack to 86, and we went to see The Three Amigos.
Nice.
And this was a
Christmas time.
This was a communal
I know.
laugh riot. This was one of the first experiences I had with an audience like losing their mind, like laughing so hard. And my mom contributed to that like 11-fold because she's a knee slapper.
Yep.
And she's super loud when she laughs.
My dad's the choking laughter. Where he's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. So my mom is like, bah! You know, she just like.
I think I'm a knee slapper.
Sometimes I am, man. Sometimes I can
lean forward.
Sometimes I get it, and it just,
Man.
it's an involuntary thing. I don't know what to do. So,
I'm a repeater. I repeat the line while I'm laughing.
So I says to her. But,
It's good. It's a great line.
so, yeah. So, you know, Three Amigos was a...
And did you see it at Christmas time or after the...
No, we saw
year?
it when the opening weekend.
Right.
You know? And it was my mom, and the theater was just full.
Yeah.
And I just remember laughter.
Busy
Laughter.
holiday season.
Through the whole thing. Just laughing, and I think I was laughing more at my mom laughing. You know, but I loved the movie.
Yeah.
And that's probably why, like, when I saw it, again, I've talked about this, but at Christmas Eve times,
You want to watch something?
I would always watch The Three Amigos
That makes sense,
when our
yeah.
friends would come over.
It's not
family
a Christmas
friends.
movie.
Exactly.
But it came out at Christmas.
But I would just put it on, and you know, it would play in the background during Christmas Eve. So that was one.
Yeah, I think most of my real strong communal experiences are the comedies. Your Something About Mary's, your Dumb and Dumbers. Like literal shaking of the theater. But to go chronologically, I think we'll say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Again, the waiting in line, the only 2 screens, so it wasn't like they had multiple prints of something. And it was my birthday movie, so I got to invite a bunch of friends, and these were not easy to get into back then because the tickets sold out pretty quickly. So I was able to bring at least 3 or 4 friends. And you were placed on a pedestal. You're just like, oh my god, we're getting to see Ninja Turtles, and just kind of owning the room, kind of thing, because it was my birthday. So I acted like a cock of the walk. Just we got that back row. It was just us, and again, just a sold out screening of people losing their mind because Turtles were so popular back then. And, it was a good experience. The birthday movies were always cool because again, you were the man of the hour.
So, kind of the same thing. 1987, Spaceballs.
Nice.
People losing their shit.
Yeah.
Me losing my shit.
Well, being, a Star Wars parody, you got all the,
Yeah,
Could see that,
and I remember me and a couple of friends immediately went home and we made our own Spaceballs on VHS.
On camera, okay.
Yeah.
Now, were you playing the Spaceballs people, or did you do your own?
No, we were
parody of
just
Star
doing
Wars?
the same thing.
All right.
We just came home and did what we just saw.
Okay.
You know? But yeah, that was a laugh experience.
Yes.
Like, people just uproar. You know?
The theater's not moving, but it felt like it just because of the deafening laughter. Yeah.
And then a year later, in 1988, 2 movies, almost the same experience minus the laughs, but let's bring in the cheering. Nightmare on Elm Street 4. This was, without a doubt, the first time I experienced anybody like like a game, like you're at like a
Sporting
baseball.
event.
I had never
What's happening?
experienced people like
Get ready!
yeah, just like really like
Don't go in there!
going with the movie,
Yeah.
clapping at every kill. People, oh, like leading up to shit.
This is doing the wave.
It was just so fun, and it's one of those things where when I get really excited, I start to laugh because I'm just so like overcome with like
Yeah, no, I get the same
excitement
way.
or joy. I giggle, like I just don't know what to do, so I giggle.
I sometimes cry.
Oh, I do that. Please. Oh my gosh.
Sidebar, Luke showing up in The Mandalorian.
We will talk about. There's some
We're just like,
experiences where I'm bawling in the theater, but yeah, Nightmare 4 was definitely like a, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
This is like, I want more of this,
Yeah.
and I'm 10 years old, and I'm going along with it, because you just want to be a part of the excitement.
Yeah.
So everyone
High
got
five.
into it. It was just so cool. People hooting and hollering, the end
Swinging
battle.
their bras.
The end battle between
Oh, God,
fucking
yeah.
him and Alice, like, just people just, wah! Like, I was just so in love. And that's probably why, amongst other things, that 4 is my favorite Nightmare on
That
Elm
makes
Street
sense.
movie.
Sure.
Like, it was
And
such
3
a
for me, then. Yeah.
such a crazy cool experience, which had been duplicated several times, which we will talk about.
Yeah.
But that was definitely the first time that I felt like, wow.
This is what movies should be.
Yes, yes. Like, if people, and I'm sure that was happening with fucking Return of the Jedi and shit like that,
Yeah.
but I was 6 years old and I was in my world.
Blinders,
and
yeah.
I was on that speeder bike and I was in Endor,
Sir,
I
get off
wasn't
my
even
back.
thinking about anything else. And then the same year,
8.
we saw Beetlejuice, and I've talked about this
Oh,
before.
really?
Beetlejuice, such a, again,
Nice.
laugh riot.
That was
People
another birthday movie for me.
losing their shit, laughing so hard, and my mom, loudest person in the theater during the Deo scene.
Deo scene, yes. Of course.
My mom, like, crying.
What is happening? This is
Yeah,
crazy.
it was so fun, and I'll never. When I watch it, I always go back to that moment.
Yeah.
Like, what a fun experience
I mean, I think that's why we watch these movies over and over again, is to go back.
to recapture
Mentally,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Nice.
those two in that year.
Well, the very next year, 1989, you probably have the same thing, but Batman.
Yes, it is.
The
Yes.
midnight showing. I had just graduated from junior high, and that was kind of my, like, oh, this is your, congratulations, son, we're going to see Batman. It might have been earlier, but I'm pretty sure it was a midnight showing, and just the nerves and just the excitement, and when the opening credits begin, where they're traveling through the bat symbol and the music's blaring, and just and then coming out of the screening and reading up, like, oh, I wasn't so familiar with Batman lore, so you're like, oh, Billy D. Williams is going to play Two-Face in a sequel, and who should they get to play Penguin? Danny DeVito would be perfect. And just the speculation, the type of stuff that's ad nauseum now, like, oh, it's, with all the Marvel movies, like, oh, I heard Mephisto, kind of thing. That was, you didn't have internet back then, so it was even more of like a close knit, like with your friends, like, who do you think's going to play, what's going to be in the sequel? Yeah, Batman, and then again going to the mall and seeing all the merchandising and the shirts, and
Loved it.
toys.
Yeah, it was everywhere.
I love that stuff. Yeah.
Same movie.
Yeah.
1989.
Mhm.
This was the first time I had ever seen our theater with lines around the block.
Oh, I would loved it.
Like,
Loved it.
I remember
Driving by and seeing that
Yep.
line.
Well, I had to be a part of it, and thank God I wasn't that first showing. But
Did they play it since it was just the
it
two
was
screens?
it
Did
was
they have it on
yep,
both?
yep.
Nice.
It was nonstop, and I remember me and some friends. We weren't going to see it until like the 7 o'clock show, but I remember me and some friends playing in front of the library, and the library is right across the street from the theater, and we saw this line of people. We were just like, we couldn't, it was like, what is going on? Like, oh, this is for Batman, like, holy cow, it was just stretching all over the place, and people were like having fun, and there were tons of people with Batman shirts and all this stuff, and yeah, it was the first time that I had seen the theater like that.
Euphoria, yeah. Did your theater have the little pamphlet with all the merchandise?
We never had shit. Like at the Babcock, we didn't have any of that fun stuff.
That's poopy.
Yeah, we we didn't.
I wish I still had
mine.
I have the Dream Child one that came out, but
so when we came out of our screening, whatever, 2 hours later, whatever, the line was already there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, this is
it's
awesome.
Yeah. Should we get back in?
This must have been what it was like for us with the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Like
We just didn't.
I just didn't.
Yeah.
But
to fathom to have to wait. And now it's just like you buy your tickets online, you pick out your seat, and you go, and you're there. You can show up late because your seat's reserved. Yeah, that's not a thing anymore.
But Batman, I'll never forget this. Batman was so packed in our theater that people had to sit in the rows.
Oh, that's a fire hazard.
Yes, but they packed it. They packed it, and
Batman wouldn't stand for that.
Yeah, it was. That was another. Wow,
Yeah.
like Batman. The summer of Batman. And then on the opposite side, so for my birthday that year, me and some friends went to see Friday 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah.
Walked out of that fucking theater like somebody just shit in our cereal.
He didn't take shit.
No, we were not happy. I think they blew it off far faster than I did.
Still hope.
Because I was
Gotta get
definitely
to
more
Manhattan.
of the horror kid in Wellsville, so it mattered to me more. But and on my birthday, and I was like that for my birthday in '87, seeing Masters of the Universe. Fucking walked out of that theater like,
That's not He-Man.
what the, like, this piece of garbage.
Cosmic Key.
It wasn't until later that I appreciated it.
Sure.
But yeah, that was, funny enough, because '89 I also went to see UHF at the drive-in.
Oh, nice.
But I saw Ghostbusters 2 twice, and I think it might have been because the first time that I saw it, that Friday, I went at the first showing, and my aunt just dropped me off. So there was literally nobody else in the theater at that time for that first showing. And while I was having a ball, I didn't have that sort of communal Ghostbusters experience for Ghostbusters 2, which was very interesting. But I did for November's Back to the Future 2.
Oh, nice.
And at that time, that was the first, and I've told this to you before, that was the first movie that I saw multiple times, like 6 times, the opening weekend.
That's insane.
Because Back to the Future 2 blew my mind. I just thought it was the most creative, imaginative.
It had been so long since the first one.
It was
so
just
you had that
so...
big gap
And the fact that they went back into the first movie...
Yeah.
I just thought it was the most genius piece of filmmaking I had ever seen. The effects were insane.
Yeah. How's that floating?
So...
I got to see that for a special critic screening because my dad knew people back then. So when I went to school the next day and told people I had seen the movie, they didn't believe me because they were like, "How could you? It's not out yet." I'm like, "It's a special. You had to get a special ticket." I knew I had seen it. They couldn't take that from me.
Second time that I experienced a super long line around the block for Wellsville was in 1991, and
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
No, it was the midnight show for Freddy's Dead.
Huh. Nice.
And it was me and my mom. She was like, I took you to the first, I'm taking you to the last.
Nice. Little did they know.
Yeah, yeah. And while we were in line, they came out and they passed out the 3D glasses for everybody. But that was a fun line, man. You know? And my mom, like,
the marketing was
big
on point
kid,
for that. Nice.
You know? She was just like, talking to everybody, talking about Freddie, you know, her friends would come by, and they weren't going, but, you know, but...
Passing through.
Yeah, it was just, it was a trip. And that theater experience was so fun because of the 3D.
Yeah.
Because I had never experienced anything like that in a theater before.
3D?
With 3D glasses.
Really?
With the chintzy...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was your first 3D movie?
Well, no, at home.
Oh, okay.
Because, like...
No, I meant theater.
Theater experience,
Really?
yes.
Wow.
Theater experience, yes. And it worked. You know, where at home, it was always like,
Yeah, it was a little
this is
sketchy.
kind of, But this was like, wow, this is actually coming out at me. And this is working. So I remember cowering and laughing so hard because
There's a
like
worm.
it's in my face and shit like that. So it was probably that experience that I loved Freddy's Dead at the time because boy do I hate it now. But yeah, so that was a really fun movie theater experience.
Now,
one's Freddy's Dead.
Now, one of the luxuries, as you know, of working at movie theaters, sometimes you would get to run things down before they're released. And when you were dealing with 35 millimeter film, there's a quality control screening that would need to be done. And when we first opened the Grease Ridge 12, the new theater that we built, everything got run down and checked, and sometimes all the employees would sit and watch the movies together. And one of the most amazing, this is a movie experience where I wish the Men in Black normalizer thing existed because I want to go back and experience that joy.
Yeah.
And that is the South Park movie. Just the laughter when Uncle Fucker.
Yeah, that's when our theater exploded.
Like, what am I like? And just everybody was laughing so hard and like choking and leaning forward and slapping knees and crying, and that's an experience I'll never get back, but it still lives in my brain today. Of just again, most of my joyous communal experiences are with comedy. When I saw There's Something About Mary, I literally fell out of my seat from laughing so hard.
It was like that when we went to see Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, same here. The snowball sequence.
Dumb and Dumber.
Just the theater moved. It was awesome.
It's one of those experiences where I remember people throwing a beach ball
in the movie
in the movie theater, and like just having a ball with it.
Literally.
And I went to see that movie like 10 times.
Oh yeah.
I just kept
and I got
back
it.
and back.
It was a new experience each time. We would bring different friends, and since we had the movie memorized by heart, we would watch them as they're watching it and see their experiences to like certain punchlines and scenes. Oh, Dumb and Dumber is definitely up there. It's something I've seen in the theaters a lot. Great experience.
And then there was, of course, in 1999, we were all waiting for the Phantom Menace. The anticipation.
The lead up. Yeah. That's why I don't rank Phantom Menace as my least favorite, because the lead up was so wonderful. From waiting in line to buy the toys, from trying to scope the trailer online and like try and bootleg it and try and find it in different mirror sites. The lead up for Phantom Menace is one of my favorite movie whole experience. And I mean, then we saw the movie. I mean,
absolutely.
We don't need to go into a review of.
Yeah, the anticipation for that movie was
greater than, I think that might have been the problem, because we were so excited for it, and then it just didn't live up to our expectations.
Yeah, man. I mean, you grew up a Star Wars kid. You couldn't help but. This was.
You didn't think you would ever get
this was
films.
Mecca.
Yeah.
This was like, oh my God, the second.
We heard about these
of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's happening. Oh.
I mean, the toy. I mean, we waited in line for hours to get the toys.
Yeah,
we got interviewed.
I did here. I did in Henrietta.
Nice.
The Toys R Us in Henrietta.
We had a kid cut in line, and we were like, whoa, what's this fucking kid doing? And I knew the kid that was cutting in line. And we were like, we asked what you're doing. He was like, oh, I was here earlier and I had to leave. And I'm like, that's not how that
It
works.
sucks, man. It sucks for you.
He was like, well, you need to talk to all these people if you don't think I... And I did. I got in front of... And this was not me back then. I got in front of 100 people and took a survey. And people who thought he should leave and not be in the front of the line.
Yeah.
Luckily, everybody was on my side. And that kid blew up and ran off and claimed he was going to come back. Everybody sitting around me took one step away from me because they thought he was going to come back with some kind of weapon. He never came back, but yeah, it was an amazing experience getting the Legos, getting all the toys, getting all the Darth Maul shit.
So I remember the midnight show.
Yep.
And it was deafening.
Yeah. I mean,
deafening.
People were camped out to buy the ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to get into their seats. There was no reserving of seats back then. You had to first come, first serve. So people,
yeah,
it was insane.
It was me and my girlfriend at the time and another friend, and the joy on my face was just
When the Star Wars
palpable. Yeah, and
music,
people
yeah.
went ape shit.
Yes.
You know, and then the movie started. After the
Well, then you're reading the
after the
trade-
fanfare, right?
Trade deadlines.
This was like the air was sucked out of the room. I'm not joking. Like, I could not believe the amount of quiet in this theater as the movie was going on. Like, I thought that this was going to be
reverence or like disappointment.
I think pure disappointment,
Okay.
because I think we all were stunned at what we were seeing. You know, I really do. So much so that it took me 14 times going to see this
the
movie
Oh,
to say to myself, wow, I don't like
it
this
might have
movie.
been 2 or 3 for me.
Oh, I went 14 because I didn't want to believe it. I did not want to believe it.
Wow.
I remember coming out of that screening, looking at my girlfriend and going, it was good, right?
Yeah, no, yeah,
You know,
we were
like,
like that too.
it
We
was
went
good.
we went to
She's like,
Perkins or
yeah.
Denny's afterwards, and we were like,
Yeah, and we're like, we're going to go the next day, right? We're going to go tomorrow? Yeah, yeah.
so.
You know, and we kept going back.
Well, they couldn't have killed off Darth Maul. He's got to come back.
I don't think I had ever been so disappointed in a movie, you know?
I just.
Than with Phantom Menace.
It's funny now, but just like I said, my friend just dropping his head. Are you brain dead? And he was just like, oh no, oh no, oh god.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I mean, we all know, but
Yeah.
it definitely was this sinking feeling of like, ooh, something is wrong here. Like, this is wrong. And
I mean, but again, you went 14 times.
I went
we
14
went to
times. I could
episode
not.
2. We went to
Yeah.
We're
Well,
for-
funny enough, episode 2 is on my list
oh.
as one of the greatest
Well, the lead up to
theatrical. No, this was in the theater, one of the greatest theatrical experiences I've ever had.
Wow.
And listen, it's not because of the quality of the movie, but it's because of what was happening on the screen that caused this theater to explode.
Yoda. Fight?
It was when the Jedi, when
Oh, at the
it's at the end, it's at Geonosis,
okay.
and
That is a cool sequence.
it's when fucking Sam Jackson goes, "This party's over," and then all the Jedi light their sabers around the arena.
Yeah. That is a cool sequence.
This fucking theater.
Because we had never really seen that
Yes,
before.
this
Yeah.
was truly deafening. This was deafening. People jumped out of their seats, and all you could see is fucking Jedi robes and like fake lightsabers like all over the place in the theater. But boy, was it a trip! Like, it was pure euphoria.
Okay.
It was joy. It was giggling. We were like losing our shit at what we were seeing, and the Jedi running in at the battle droids. We were just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life!
People running
know?
through the wall and having the outline of their body.
Yes. And then, when Yoda
Yeah.
lit his lightsaber, and went ape shit.
I've never seen that.
Again,
Yeah.
everybody lost their shit in that theater.
Nice.
So that is why that is a extremely memorable experience for me. But I really don't like that movie.
No. That's probably my least favorite.
That I definitely learned my lesson. Because I saw that maybe twice, maybe 3 times in theaters. Just because it was a new Star Wars movie.
I think maybe twice, and then I saw the IMAX version.
I did too.
Which is a better film, actually.
And we dressed up as like...
they cut all the right stuff out of the IMAX version.
I was fucking white trash Luke. Oh no, white trash Anakin.
Like you had a mullet? Or
Yeah, I had a mullet, sunglasses, like a headband. I had like the robe, but I was like fingerless gloves and shit. Like we all dressed up goofy to go see this IMAX screening of. I have pictures of it.
Your lightsaber was a can opener.
Yeah, I have pictures of it. Casey had like the Teen Ape mask on.
But you should just go to all movies with the TV.
Let's backtrack to the opening of Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, yeah.
I
That was a rundown, so that wasn't.
That was Fellowship of the Ring was a truly emotional roller coaster for me. Like, I was in awe of this movie. I was in love with this movie. I was fully invested. You know, I was one of those kids who we had to read The Lord of the Rings in school.
Okay.
You know, it was one of those like 2-month long like book things where we had to. This was the book. You got to trudge through this.
Oh, yeah.
And talk about it. So we did. So I loved Lord of the Rings.
That's an 8-month read for me.
You know, this movie was. I quit my job at Toys R Us because
they wouldn't give you it.
Yeah, because I had already bought midnight show tickets.
Well, you can.
And they were like,
"That's inventory day."
Well, yeah, you're gonna be here that night, and I was like, "No, I'm not." And I just left. I was like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm going to see Fellowship of the Ring. And I didn't look back.
Were you in
I didn't
Rochester?
care. Yep, I was in Rochester. I was working at the Henrietta one.
Nice.
So we went to Tinseltown to see the midnight show of Fellowship of the Ring.
Nice.
Bawled. I was just in tears, not just from the emotion and the camaraderie, but from what I was seeing. I was just like, I had never. Oh, shit! Let's go way back.
Oh,
this pertains to it. So 1993, Jurassic Park opens.
Oh yeah.
This yes,
I lied to my parents to go see
amazing theater experience. This was the first time, but Fellowship of the Ring was the second time. This was the first time where my breath was taken away.
Oh.
The theater at the same time.
On the T-Rex?
No.
Oh.
When they saw the Brontosaurus for the first time and they turned their heads and it's walking.
The music cue. Yeah.
The theater all went, you know? It was vocal. My breath was taken away. I could not believe what we were seeing. And the whole theater felt that way. Like, we have never seen anything like this. Yeah. It looked so fucking real.
That's a good
and I'll never, ever forget that. And it happened to me in Fellowship of the Ring.
Nice.
Yep. It seems like a goofy moment, but when they're in the Mines of Moria and the cave troll comes out, I lost my breath. I was like I was taken aback. And it was only because the way that Peter shot that scene, because it was with a digital camera,
yeah.
And he was
able to,
you were getting the cave troll in a way that you normally wouldn't get a cave troll or a CG character in an environment like that, because of the way it was being moved, and it took my breath away. I was like, this is next level CG. This is cinema, you know?
Passed out.
I was like, I am watching something insane right now, you know? So Fellowship of the Ring, and I saw it 18 times.
God damn.
To this day, it is the most I've ever seen a movie in the theater. 18 times, Fellowship of the Ring. Kept going back. Same experience every single fucking time.
I mean, I think over the years, Ghostbusters is probably my theater most, just from all the re-releases and such. But
yeah, no, 18 times.
and I work at a movie theater.
I
I
love
think maybe
Fellowship.
6 times we saw Goldmember. This is going to be another rundown memory, but when I first watched Jackass, the very first Jackass movie, it was literally, I don't know how many could fit in a row, but 20 employees, male employees. There wasn't a single girl employee at the screening. 20 dudes, all friends, work together, watching Jackass and just losing our minds from laughing and
Definitely.
getting sick and almost throwing up and just cringing and covering our eyes. It was a blast. I mean, back then there was the back row, but then there was like a floor behind the back row, so we would all bring folding chairs
Nice.
and sit behind. Like it was
Nice.
rundowns were the best thing, one of the best things with working at the theater, because it was like our thing.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
we would all go to 7-Eleven or Wegmans and just get our snacks, and then at midnight when the theater closed, we would throw on the movie, and
Yeah.
it was some great memories. Bad movies, we would MST3K it. If we really, really hated the movie, we'd throw our shoes to signify that. The best is when someone would bring somebody outside to one of our screenings and they would shush us. And they'd be like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
you do not do that."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like the girl who brought her friend was like, "Oh no, they're allowed to do that." It's like we were the kings of the cinema. It was a great time. But yeah, the Jackass screening still sticks with me just because.
You know, there's 2 times in the movies where I was crying from laughing so hard that I almost pissed my pants. Like
Almost.
literally almost pissed my pants. Like I was on the verge, and I you know I can remember as it was happening. Like, do not do that. Don't do this, Chris. Don't do this, Chris. It's funny, but shit, like breathe.
I mean, I was
you know?
4 when I pissed my pants.
So one was Anchorman, the first Anchorman.
Okay, nice.
And then the second one was Hot Rod.
Oh God, yes.
And Hot Rod, I was like losing my breath because I was laughing and crying
When he
so
was
hard.
when he was falling down the hill, at least 10 minutes after that scene happened, I was still laughing to the point of being annoying.
Yeah. I
Wow.
almost pissed my pants both times.
Nice.
Never again.
Never. Almost. Yeah. So Jackass is up there for me.
Yeah.
Any MODREN? I think we might have. The
I'm
same
trying to
one.
go through, you know, I'm
Yeah.
trying to hit those high points there, you know. I remember going to Scream, and this is going to be like a different
Oh,
experience,
Yeah.
but I remember going to Scream and the audience loving it,
but me not.
and I hated it.
Yes, me too.
I had my arms folded.
Were you at Tinseltown?
I was looking at every. No, this was still in Wellsville.
You were still in Wisville.
Yeah,
Oh.
I didn't hit up here until 2001.
Interesting.
2001.
I was everyone around me adored that film, and I was okay. And then the next day because my theater didn't get it, the next day at work when I told everybody I hated it and they were like mad at me. It was like that with the first Transformers movie because everybody loved it and I did not. And
That's another one of my
it's like,
amazing
no,
experiences.
I hate this movie. They're like, why did you hate it? Because the robot pissed on someone. I mean, obviously I had a laundry list of reasons, but that was my go-to. But yeah, Scream was the same way. I did not, and now I love it. I mean,
Oh, I still hate it.
oh really? The
Yeah.
first one?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, like we did,
I
Casey is more of a, he's,
Do you like any of the sequels? Sorry.
nope,
Interesting.
nope. I saw all of them.
Will
I
you-
saw all
will
of
you
them.
see part 5?
You know, I think the stubbornness in me is going to make me see part 5. Because the stubbornness in me it was like this with some of the Rob Zombie stuff. I kept going back to Rob Zombie movies because I was like, maybe this time he'll actually make something good for me. And he just never did. And so I felt that way with the Scream movies. I was like, maybe this time I will enjoy it. And I just never did. And I saw them with Casey. Every time. He loves them.
Okay.
He loves them. So a couple years ago for his birthday, he said, you know what I want? I want to do a... Sorry.
Scream-a-thon.
No, he wants to do a 90s horror marathon for his birthday. I was like, oh, God. Okay, for your birthday, I will do this for you. So we sat here, you know, he had who he wanted here, and we watched all the quintessential 90s horror movies.
Okay.
And out of all the 90s horror movies we watched, Scream was the only one where I was like, you know what? Out of that whole batch, Scream was the best one that we watched. But I still was like...
What were the other ones then?
It was like Urban Legend, I Know What
like
You
that
Did
one?
Last Summer,
That one I don't like.
whatever the 90s
Sure.
shit was, The Craft, shit like that. I was like, you know, the best made film out of that whole bunch was Scream.
You do
and I
not
still
like the
do not
90s.
like Scream. Oh, you know. No. But... yeah, what a wild experience. Seeing it. I felt like the outsider, you know?
Yeah, no, I did
felt
too.
So like,
well, that was like...
am I missing something
That was,
here?
I think that might have been the first weekend Tinseltown opened.
Oh, yeah?
So it was packed, and me and the girlfriend, soon to be ex-wife at the time, had to sit up the front, very front, and we're looking like this, and everybody's just, all the beats, people are losing their mind, and I'm like, this isn't...
I was not impressed.
I came around because I eventually watched it with a bunch of friends, and we just kind of riffed on it. And, I mean, obviously I like it now, but that first theater experience for Scream was not good for me.
So we'll stay in the 90s. So 1996, I come around and you know, so I am, me and my buddies, you know, we've been making movies forever and all this stuff, and I become sort of obsessed with Robert Rodriguez and Quentin
me too.
Tarantino.
Yep.
And so I start following the production of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
Through any means possible. And so to say this was a highly anticipated film for me was, I mean, it's insane. So I bought the script. At the time, you could buy the script in a book, you know, book form. You bought the script.
Just, gifted that to somebody.
So we had done a parody of Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction in '94. And it was called Four Guys Named Mister. And we did that parody, we had seen the movies, but leading up to Dusk Till Dawn, we were like, let's get a hold of that script and let's make our own. So we did. So based off of that script and based off of the trailers and TV ads, we made From Almost Night Till Almost Day. Before we went to see From Dusk Till Dawn. And so the opening weekend is happening, and there's a giant ice storm.
Yep, I remember. Yeah.
And now you gotta, so this is 1996, so I'm 19 years old. I am almost in tears because I cannot see From Dusk Till Dawn on opening night because of ice.
Yeah.
I'm so angry. You know, all of us, the guys who were in the first wave of LBP, we were all ready to go. And I am just livid that we cannot see this movie. But my aunt's you can go tomorrow.
Yep.
You know, it's the next fucking day, Chris.
That's what I had to do too.
So the next day, we go see From Dusk Till Dawn, and just lost our minds. Just lost our minds. We loved this fucking movie from beginning to end. It was such a
everything. Yeah,
it really was. It was fucking everything that I love, and it was just so insane. The opening, the way that the credits were happening, it was like a fucking grindhouse movie, and it just was this is an experience, you know.
The explosions behind them as they're
Just
walking,
so
and the
crazy.
debris falling,
and my so we had my friend Jesse Green, who was younger than all of us, And really, the only reason he was able to go into the theater was because of us. But I remember looking at his face during the movie, and he was like, he was just so, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. And he was like, this was the greatest film I have ever seen in my life. And for the longest time, From Dusk Till Dawn became my favorite film of all time.
It was up there
like,
for me, yeah.
I
still
just
have the poster.
thought it was fucking amazing.
The poster.
Fucking amazing.
I'll never give it back. My theater didn't get it. It went down the street. And
oh, we didn't go to Wellsville because they didn't have it. We
Yeah.
had to go to like Hornell or Oregon or something like that.
So I asked my boss, I'm like, since we didn't get it, could I have the poster? And he would fucking toy with me. Like, I don't know. Maybe I want it. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? No one knows this movie but me. And I was like the only one that saw it. Eventually, I don't know if he gave it to me or I just took it. But I still have it to this day. That was a good, yeah. It was an awkward movie to see with my girlfriend at the time.
Oh yeah?
Due to, pussy looking stuff.
Hmm.
There was creepy laughter surrounding us during some of those parts. Where I was like, oh boy, who's here seeing this with us? Yeah, that's up there for me as well.
It's funny. I keep telling River, I'm like, dude, you will love this movie. Just watch it.
I don't know if Alex is.
Just watch it, because I know he would totally dig it.
I mean, those last half hours, batshit creepy. It's funny that for some people, that moment is when they check out of it. I'm like, but that's the whole.
No fucking way. No fucking way.
Do you enjoy the sequels?
I like 3.
Is that Hangman?
Yes.
Okay.
That was because
Does that have
Rodriguez was a little more
Does that have
directly involved.
the Psycho parody? Or is that part 2?
I can't. No, so that's 2.
Okay.
I don't like 2, but 3 Michael Parks is in it.
Yeah,
He's
true.
like the
Yeah,
lead,
yeah.
and it was a little. And Rodriguez co-wrote that one. It was
okay.
a little more like back, to where it should be.
Gotcha.
2 I did not like, but I did like the show. I did like the show.
Tapped out midway through. I forget why.
I liked it. I didn't think it was too bad. At that point, I was certainly like, ooh,
Did that
anything.
do 2 seasons?
3.
That was 3?
Yeah. Still to this day, I ponder, and my mind boggles at the thought that we do not have action figures from Dusk Till Dawn.
It's a pain in the butt. I tell you, as someone that once obtained
A license? Yeah.
it is not easy. There is, as they say, too many cooks in the kitchen.
I guess so. But we can all be happy that this year we are getting a 4K restoration
Oh, nice.
by Rodriguez himself for
that-
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Has that been announced?
He announced it. He put it on
But there
his
hasn't.
Twitter.
But there hasn't been.
Not an official.
Okay.
But he did say and he wouldn't say what company is releasing it.
Sounds like ripe for screen back.
I think it's going to be one of those. It might even be Arrow. I think it might be Arrow.
I wonder if full tilt will come with it.
Full tilt boogie.
Because that's why I don't get rid of my. I don't know if the Blu-ray has it, but
No. Well, it does, but I didn't get rid of my original DVD.
yeah, that's what I have.
Because it has all of the bonus features
Yeah.
that have never been ported over on any other release.
Really?
No, not
Okay.
even the Blu-rays.
Okay.
So I still have that first DVD
Yeah, me
release.
too. The
that
collector's edition.
Yeah, it has all the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It has the commentaries from him and Quentin.
Yeah.
It's got like deleted shit. I'm like, come on, guys. The only way you can get that on Blu-ray is the foreign release, which I bought for Casey, and he doesn't have a region-free Blu-ray player. So I'm hoping this 4K set has everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Cool.
But yeah, why don't we, we could keep talking because there's a lot, but why
Yeah.
don't we jump into the modern age?
Honestly, I
Real
only
quick.
have. I mean, as a whole, it's all the MCU movies, but the pinnacle is.
I'm going to say that as well.
Is Endgame.
I'll say that
I still get choked up.
each Lord of the Rings
Is that there for you?
was an amazing theatrical experience. Again, I love them so much, and Two Towers comes out and Return of the King comes out. I see them multiple times. Well, Return of the King came out, and they did a marathon here in Rochester, and they did the extended of Fellowship, extended of Two Towers,
It's a long day.
and then they did, and I did it, and I loved it. I remember I got I had to, because they were gone, they were sold out, so I had to do like a black market deal with this dude who had 2 tickets for me and my girlfriend at the time, and I had to meet him downtown.
Okay.
But I was determined because I wanted to do this marathon,
Nice.
And I got him.
Nice.
I got him.
A buddy of mine did that for, unfortunately, Batman and Robin. They had the like 98 PXY radio screening.
Oh,
So we camped out and just not accosted, but went up to a guy. I was like,
man,
we've got these 3 free passes and this coupon to
You
fucking
want
Burger
this?
King. Can we have your... He's like, yeah, sure. And little did we know that we would witness a bat credit card come up on the screen with a cha-ching sound effect.
don't leave home without it.
Cha-ching.
Um,
But yeah, the only one that really comes to mind modern-wise is Endgame for me.
I had a nigh religious experience for the first Avengers. The first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
This was the second coming of the Attack of the Clones screening.
Gotcha.
We went to the midnight show of Avengers at Tinseltown, and packed to the gills in the IMAX. And this was another experience of people getting out of their seat and cheering, screaming, like
doing the dolphin on
just completely losing their shit.
Wow.
And
Maybe it's you.
it made me cry. The excitement, the joy that we were all having. And what did it was, there's a scene, so unfortunately, Marvel, you spoil the spin in all of your marketing, right?
Right.
But right after that spin, there's a scene where another portal opens up and more aliens come out.
Yeah.
And then the Avengers turn. And they all turn as a group.
Yeah.
And you're seeing them really for the first time together. You see the fucking Hulk.
Yeah.
You see all these guys. And people, I felt it too, people were cheering. And yes, like it was like, and I was laughing and tears were streaming down my face. Because this was real. This was like, I've never seen anything like this before in my life. I grew up a Marvel fanboy. Like, this was the greatest thing I had ever seen in my life. At that time.
Yeah.
Could not believe it. And, I get... thinking about that, like, it's just magical. That's one of those things where I wish I had that MIB thing and could fucking take me back to that experience, because wow.
I saw
what a night.
Avengers 3 times in the span of not even 12 hours.
Oh, we went 6 times that weekend.
Holy shit.
6 times that weekend. I just was so in love with that movie.
Yeah.
Couldn't be beat.
No. Until...
Well, come on now. You have that build up for all these years, and you go see these Marvel movies, and then you hit Infinity War at Endgame.
Oh my god.
Like, just a blubbering mess.
Literal
mess.
breathtaking.
It was amazing.
Oh my god, what did I just witness?
Truly amazing. Again, awe-inspiring, magical theatrical moments where people are losing their shit. In Infinity War, it happens several times, but the biggest was when Thor comes down to the fight in Wakanda,
with
and
Groot
cheering and fists are pumping, and like, "Wah!" and the same thing.
And when the snap occurs, the blip occurs.
Oh my god!
You're just like, wait, what the fuck?
It's great because like it's so silent, you can hear everybody sniffling and crying in the theater when everyone's going away.
I love those like reaction videos now that you find where people are just witnessing those movies at their homes, and people are recording their girlfriends or other friends watching certain scenes for the first time and just like, no. just again, we've used that. You could turn it into a communal word drinking game, but the communal experience of watching these movies. That's why movies are. That's why they're a thing. That's why we've been sad that we haven't been able to experience this past year.
Exactly.
So hopefully that'll slowly, rise up again with all these. I mean, all these movies got pushed to the end of the year, so we're going to get this backloaded release of. I mean, there's 4 Marvel movies, I believe, at the end from September to December.
Well, from
September,
July is Black Widow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
and then
June,
it just
July,
keeps...
Loki. Then you got the movies coming out. You got
Yeah.
What If in August for the TVs.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi, Eternals, and Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Miss Marvel is in November.
The
On
TV
Disney
show.
Plus.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. But, what's going to be that...
What's our next? Yeah. What's our
the next communal
moment?
crazy experience?
Oof.
You know?
I'm trying to think.
I mean, shit.
I think maybe Spider-Man. I'm gonna.
I hope so. It would be great. That would be nice.
All
I
the
mean, there's
speculation
enough...
and.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's far enough where I think more and more people are going to go back to the cinema. I mean, I obviously with things opening up more and the vaccines happening, and I think I think it's going to be a much more jovial summer as far as the movies are concerned with audiences. People are going to be happy to go back to the theater. I think it's going to be a lot more positivity.
Let's hope so.
Being able to go back and
less chatter.
Yeah.
Unless it's welcomed,
I think, but you might be right. We might have that Spidey experience.
Because the other, maybe Black Widow, but that's a weird timeline thing. But I don't think people are aware of the Eternals and Shang-Chi to build up that excitement.
Yeah, that
you might have a first Guardians movie kind of like, oh, I wasn't expecting this to be, but that fervor is not going to be there until we get to that, or maybe Doctor Strange in February.
I mean, there might be something that is in Shang-Chi and Eternals that kind of blows us away.
Right.
That's like, wow, we have to see this again and
Right.
again. But I don't think it's going to be an uproar of...
Right. I just don't know those IPs well enough to...
So, yeah, who knows, man? We got
Bond.
Ghostbusters to look forward to.
Ghostbusters.
I want that to be
Right.
a hell of an experience.
I mean, I'm anticipating it, but the marketing is very pulled back at the moment.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Unfortunately,
it just doesn't feel like a Ghostbusters movie.
They pulled it back,
Yeah.
and it
Should be.
It's a fall film.
I'm excited, but I don't
Definitely.
know what to expect.
Definitely.
Bond, maybe.
Yeah. Definitely, as far as crowds are concerned, I think. I mean, really, I think with Black Widow coming in smack dab in the summer, I think that's really going to be the return to cinema.
So, got my boy David Harbour.
Definitely for me. I'm going to go to as many theatrical experiences this summer as I can.
Yeah, if they're available.
So, yeah, that was a hefty episode.
Yes.
I'm sure I missed some.
Sure.
But
There's literally thousands of movies we've seen.
yeah.
So there's definitely something we missed.
So, yeah, guys.
Yeah.
Let us know your
Oh yeah. Please.
experiences. What blew you away? What made you cry?
What blew,
It's easy for
what
me.
blew your pants just clean off?
Yeah. Wow!
Ding dong!
Your hair would rise. Your
yes.
eyes came out like fright features. You were just so like,
It would turn color.
I can't believe what I'm
Your
saying.
teeth would fall out. Shit your pants. Did you shit your pants in the movie?
Drinking
Leave it in the comments.
Yeah, you went to see Mac and Me, and it just blew your mind.
You lost all control of your bodily functions.
Norman's awesome experience.
The Teletubbies movie, the band.
Oh, I don't know.
Oogie Loves. Oh, that's it. Oogie Loves.
All right.
Till next time.
Yeah. So that's it. Oh, real quick. So seeing Super 8. Seeing Super 8 for me. I was a mess of emotions.
Wow.
Mess of emotions. I was crying out of sheer joy. I was crying out of sadness and emotions. I was left a puddle at the end of Super 8.
Wonderful.
And to this day, it's
Still does it for you.
I love that movie. So anyway, thanks guys, and thank you for Tanski for joining me once
good to be here.
again on
Yes.
Crept from the 80s.
We can do these more
And
now.
like if you like it, it
not,
helps the algorithms. And if you don't like it, you can even hit that, because also, folks, the thumbs down helps the algorithms.
Oh, it does.
So it does
That's
mean
wonderful.
more people get to see our videos.
Why didn't they like this? And then they checked.
So, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you on another...
At the movies.
Yes, yes! My Siskel to my Ebert. Siskel to my Ebert. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.